let me take you back to 2024 when Epi started the route from Lagos to London. Virgin Atlantic British Airways were selling at 3 million, 4 million for an economy class ticket. But when Airpeace came on board, competition became very huge. They dropped the fare for to 1.5, 1.6 million naira. Every airline's head straight up. Their head correct. Before you knew it, they actually had to review their prices and because the competition is there. It's plenty, my brother.
Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of your Travel Paddy podcast, brought to you by Gigs Media, a subsidiary of our mother company, Gigs Travel, a place where you get all your travel news, travel updates, and everything you want to know about the world of travel all around the world. And at Gigs Travel, we handle all your visa applications for whichever country you want to go to. This is your go-to place. You can reach out to us. The link is in bio and also on your screen right now. And I'm so happy to be talking to you live from our podcast studio today. And we have a very, very special guest, as always. He's well-traveled. Outside of that, he knows what he's doing and is going to give us absolutely the best. We have in the studio with us Dr. Oludayo Taiwo, a.k.a. Gidi Boss, the MD CEO of Airport Group. We are so excited to have you, sir. Welcome on board, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure being here today. I've seen what you've done so far. And, when I got the invitation, it interests me so much because, this is a beautiful development in the aviation industry. And it's a pleasure being here in your studio. Well done to all of you at Gigs Travels.
Thank you. From your bio, you aside from the fact that you are well-traveled, you've authored a couple of books, and you are also into educating people on the travel industry and things like that. But one of the things that interests me is that your nickname, Gidi Boss. Obviously, I know you're a boss, but I've come to realize that something in the travel industry is the industry experts, everybody have like a unique nickname. I think it's easier to go by your nickname, am I correct?
Yeah, that's
right. But I'm sure myself and our listeners will want to know, like, Gidi Boss, like, how did you come about in it?
Okay, yeah, my name is Dr. Oludayo Taiwo Gideon, and the Gidi is actually some sort of extraction from my name, Gideon.
Okay.
However, I didn't name myself Gidi Boss. My mentees, a couple of them actually came together and said, "This guy is Gidi Boss." So, and I was asking her, what is about this Gidi Boss of it? And they said, okay, you don't know. Gidi means confirm. Gidi means original. Gidi means authentic. Gidi means, and that's interesting. And because you are an exemplary leader, so we'll call you Gidi Boss because you are not just a boss, you are a leader. So that's what brought about the name Gidi Boss.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And you're also certified. You have over 20 certifications in your name.
More than
20. Yeah, that's why I said over. Because we can't. By tomorrow, you could have another one extra. Like, is it part of what prompts you? Is it that you definitely want to be at the top of the industry? Is that like one of the main reason why you keep having certifications? Or I feel like there's a lot of things that you could teach us based off of that. Like, why? Like, why do you keep having more certifications and things like that?
Okay. One thing about me that which actually makes me Gidi Boss is always putting myself up there. And that's because I know I have a lot of followers, those that I know and those that I do not know. So by the grace of God, I run an aviation training institute, which is Airports College of Aviation and Travel Management. And in the last 8 years of running the aviation college, we've trained over 5,000 travel professionals.
Wow.
And because you're somebody who is high profile or who is seen up there, you would always want to keep that standard and status. So I'm always in quest of knowledge. So one thing about me is I always want to, get myself updated because I believe that there's a saying that it takes multiple, because they say it's actually double. They say it takes multiple of what takes a man up there for him to sustain that level. So I'm always in quest for knowledge. So I have taken so many courses in aviation, travel, and tourism. And if you are talking about the awards, it's actually my 17th year in the industry. And my company, Airport, started about 10 years ago. December 2024, we celebrated 10th anniversary. And if I had to count the number of awards we've gotten, it's close to 50 now.
Wow.
For Airport. And if you combine mine, maybe like going to like 70 or more. Even this April 2025, we'll be bagging another award as the Aviation School of the Year.
Wow.
And that's it. So for me, I'm always in quest of knowledge. I want to learn more. And that is one unique thing about the travel industry. You can't stay outdated. You wake up, you see that the policies in the countries where you're applying for visa has actually changed.
Yes.
So if you're not always keeping yourself updated, you just be outdated. And if you want to stand out, you want to be outstanding, you must always stand out. And that is what Giddy Boss does. And that's for me.
I mean, you've heard from our special guest, the Giddy Boss himself. We'll take a break and we'll get right into this.
Are you looking for the right place to start your travel processes? Here at Gigs Travels, we offer various services which include study abroad application, visa application, legal relocation advisory, and consultation services. We assist with applications to countries like UK, USA, Canada, Netherlands, Australia, and more. Here is why we stand out. We are fully registered in Nigeria, USA, UK, and Canada. To get started with your application today, visit our website www.gigstravels.co.uk or send a DM to us on our social media platform at gigs_travel.
Welcome back, guys. Before we go into the topic of the conversation, so I would like you to, give us a brief history as to, what led you into aviation. You said you have over 18 years experience now, right? So, what was that first thing that prompted you to decide that I want to do this? I really need to do this.
I will have to tell the story again. Okay. I joined the travel industry some 17 to 18 years back.
Wow.
And what's actually prompted me to join the travel industry is not accidental. I was actually working as a cleaner in a travel agency.
Wow.
I was working at Air Travels and Tours Limited, then as a cleaner. You package it and call it office assistant. So I'm actually a CEO then as a chief errand officer. So I joined the industry then far back 2008. And, at some point, then it was a paper ticket that has been issued. There's no electronic ticket and the likes that we have today. Okay, which we're going to talk and dive into as time goes on. But, what actually let me intrigued, and I saw that they had to bring in expatriates to come and then they newly introduced Ahmadios. And there's a man from Bangladesh, as a country beside India. They brought him into Nigeria as an expatriate to come and, make bookings on Ahmadios, because nobody in Nigeria, barely do you have anybody in Nigeria who knows about it. So then I saw the man who sit down in his office, pressing that green screen. So when I go dusting, cleaning, when he send me on errands, at a point I had to confront him and say, sir, I like this thing that you're doing. I've been working with you since 2006 and this is 2008. I am interested. And he told me, I was asking him the first time, he said, don't worry, I will tell you later. Don't worry. At some point, when I was so persistent, he said, go to an aviation school because it's not something I can teach you. So that was what prompted me to go to an aviation school. And I went for an aviation school. I worked with a couple of companies for about 7 years. And after paying my dues and, paying all the prices, I think at some point I decided my accolade. So I ventured into travels, and that is why we have Airport. Airport today is not just a travel agency.
Yeah.
Okay. We started though as a travel agency, very small, under the staircase, somewhere at Ikeja, with one chair, one table.
Wow.
And we grew 2 years after, because I do consultation as well.
Yes.
So while I was working for people in the travel companies where I worked, I would still put people together, train my colleagues, make researches. Like I said, I give myself to knowledge. So when I learn new things, I want to give same to my colleague because I want the business to grow. I want this business to succeed. So I had this drive inside of me. So I will bring myself together. So when my boss's friend see me doing that, they will invite me to their own office to come and train their staff as well. So then I started having this drive to impact knowledge into people. So afterwards, 2 years like that, I had people coming to me, hey, please, I want to I need jobs, and can you train me on this job? At some point, the amazing thing is, even the school where I trained,
Yes.
the aviation school I got trained,
Yes.
the director of studies had to send his wife to come and learn under me.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I told myself at some point, so after like 2 years, like I said, somebody in my church came to me and said, please, I want my daughter to sign up for that aviation school that you told me about some months or some years ago. And then he gave me the 3,500 naira to obtain the form.
Wow.
So I called my friend who owns the school where I got trained, and guy, I have somebody for you again. And in less than a year, I've recommended about 10, 15, 20 people to that same school. And he said, oh, we're already in session. In fact, we've gone halfway. You have to wait for another 3 months before the person can come on board. So I told the father, sir, this person cannot join this current batch. So the person has to wait for another 3 months. He said, okay, please keep this money with you. Whenever the form is out, get me the form and my child will get enrolled. So I told myself, 3,500 naira. So to me, it looked like 3,500 billion. I said, this is too much to handle. I saw it as a gold mine. I didn't see it just as a token. Then I told myself, okay, I think it is high time. And by God's grace, then I've had a larger office space. And I told myself, I think I need to break this place into a college, and then I'll run the travel business on the side. So that was what led to Airport College of Aviation.
Wow.
And amazingly, like I said, 2008, 16, we started the college. The travel started 2014. 2016, we started the aviation college. And last year alone, 2024, we convocated 1,200 something students.
Wow.
Airport College of Aviation. So this is no pride. And today we've gotten other companies, the automobile company, the logistics, and this is somebody who started as a cleaner in a travel agency. So that is a bit of my story. But let me not go into details.
I mean, even the bit you shared with us is a lot.
Thank
because
you.
I mean, you just gave a testament of how a little spark can lead into something bigger.
That's right.
But then it's very, very beautiful, and I'm sure this little bit you've inspired like somebody like you right now to like push for their dreams.
That's it.
And things like that.
That's it.
But one thing I pick up along the conversation you were talking about. Our main topic of today is we want to center around flight ticketing, bookings, and the situations around that. But you mentioned something about how flight ticketing has started from paper before heading into electronics. Like, can you take us back to that history of how it came from that period, how the paper, how it worked? Because I mean, definitely I would want to have a lot of idea, and I feel like everybody listening definitely wants to have a lot of idea, and you're in the best position to tell us that.
Okay, so when I joined the industry far back in 2006, when I joined the company, then I saw my senior colleagues then would have to go to the airline office. The funny thing is, they will leave their home as early as 3 a.m. Go with an LPO, even if you are an airline an agency that has a stock of that airline. You have to get a IATA process then too. IATA means International Air Transport Association. So it is like an umbrella body for the aviation and travel and tourism industry globally. Okay, it's actually funded by the airlines, and then by extension, they have the IFTA, which is the Universal Federation for Travel Agents Association, which now models all travel and tourism companies globally. Now, the bottom line here is, after having gotten that license, then you have airline stocks. But you cannot issue an airline ticket without getting validation from the airline. So having done that, you have to go to the airline office, get the ticket validated after you have written it. So it's more like a checkbook there. This checkbook we all present at the bank. So it is just innovation and involvement around the travel industry trends and all. So you have to issue the ticket. So it's a paper ticket. They call it paper ticket or coupon ticket then. So you have to detach it and then present it at the airport. So if you have Lagos, London, for example, so the next one will now be London, say Amsterdam.
Wow.
The next paper will now be Amsterdam to Chicago. So and so on and so, it depends on your itinerary.
Yes.
So it's a one-way ticket, you will only be issued a single leaflet.
Yes.
So, and if you mistakenly lose that paper, it's as good as saying your ticket is gone.
Wow.
Unlike now that we have it electronic, I can send to your WhatsApp, I can send to your email, I can send to you even on Instagram and any other platform. So that is just what it is. So then you have to get an IATA license, issue an LPO, go to the airline office for the validation, among many other processes. And then to elect a passport to, there's something called Oluwole in those days. Olori, somebody else's head, put on your passport, you travel with somebody else's. So you and I look alike not because of fair. I'm fair that you are dark. So if I have somebody who looks very much like me, what happens? I just get your tickets and enjoy your passport with a visa, and then I travel out and come back with your own passport that has a visa.
Wow.
So I'll just bear your name.
Yeah.
I'll bear your name, and so that is what the history, the little I can share with you as well as the history of travel there.
But looking at you mentioned something. I feel like everybody I want to ask that question, and I think everybody else. You said something about how, if you look alike, I could use your ticket. But I know that one thing they do now is that when you are trying to get a ticket, your visa, the request for your passport number and things like that. So are you saying it wasn't done then, like your passport number wasn't needed, like when you are getting tickets?
Yeah, the point is your passport number will be there, but I can impersonate you. That's what it means. Because if you look alike, I can use your own passport to travel. In those days, the days of our fathers, we understand that as a Nigerian passport holder, you don't even need a visa to go to the UK and the likes. When Nigeria was still Nigeria. It's still Nigeria now, but it's an upgraded version of Nigeria we are presently in our own generation anyway. So the bottom line here is I can impersonate you, you can impersonate me, or anybody else can bear my name. What is most important then is present a document that shows that you own this passport. And unlike what it is today, so there's a security chip, you have to thumb prints. There are many other things that have to be presented now because it has been authenticated, it's now electronic, and so on and so forth. So
there's like more scrutiny,
more security features on our passports, like what it used to be. And that e-passport was introduced so many years ago.
I remember, growing up, I have like folks that travel a lot. For instance, when going to I have a family member that is based in Germany, and I remember then that whenever he wants to get his ticket, then we have to start scampering about calling one agent, calling another agent, because based on how you said it then, it was not electronic. You needed somebody, or you go to the airline office, and it's usually not easy getting it directly from the airline office, because you need to go to the agent. So, but one thing is that you could have 3 agents you are talking to, but the prices are not the same. So why is there fluctuation in prices? Now we're talking about old time, not new time now.
Okay.
Why is there like fluctuation in prices, like among different agencies for the same airline ticket?
Okay. In those days, not today, right?
Yeah.
In those days, there are different criteria that will be considered determining the price of the tickets, and particularly it may be the same airline or not. Okay, but the bottom line here is you have to consider many other things that will be put in place. If it will cost me then, for example, me traveling from Ibadan to the airline office in Lagos to get your ticket issued, of course I would definitely factor my transportation fare among every other things. So putting all of that together could be the reason as a then for the price differences. But today, many other reasons could be there, which we'll be discussing much later.
Definitely. But aside of that one, but if we are talking about right now in terms of booking tickets, I have a very important question that I want to ask you. Like now people can book directly from the airline, they can buy directly from the airline and things like that. But then you also get to find out that if you should open your phone right now, go to an airline, check a ticket price, come back, check in 2 minutes time, the prices have increased. So why is it like that? The price increment.
Okay, there are many factors that leads to price differentiation. Okay, and I will just streamline it to maybe 3, 4, or 5, depending on how much time we have. Okay, number one reason why we have fair differentiation is, first of all, there are different class of services. Okay, we have the economy class, we have the premium economy, we have the business class, we have the first class. Now, that is a major. So the class of services is a determinant of how much the fare of the ticket will be. And don't be shocked that the tickets for the same aircraft that will take off and land at the same destination, one person could be buying, for example, on 1 million naira, another person is paying 20 million naira for the same fare. But what differentiates them, first of all, is we'll consider the class of service.
Yes.
I'm just going to buttress it a bit further, especially for laymen who are watching us, who have an understanding. Why is it that price tickets are usually different from each other?
Yes.
So the class of service is number one. And when you talk about the class of service, it's coming with the benefits. So if you are a first class passenger, of course, you have a seat that can be converted into a bed.
Yes.
You'll be treated specially. You have a dedicated cabin crew to you and many other things like that. So you have access to Wi-Fi. You have everything cozy and luxury. So first class, business class, similar, as well as premium economy now could now be the space of the seats, which will make it different from an economy seat. So if your seat is actually slightly wider than mine,
yes,
then there's tendency that I'll be paying more than yourself.
Or a window seat.
Yeah, not necessarily window seat. I'll come back to that. That could be additional or ancillary services.
Yes.
Okay. But particularly about the price of tickets when you do your search.
Yes.
So, and another thing is, so by the time you are searching for the tickets, you can be on the same economy class. So the airline has, this may not be understandable by a lay person because we are not professionals in the industry. Okay. Because there are different codes that the airline uses. Yes. So we have a platform called the Global Distribution System. And this Global Distribution System has, give us the inventory of the airlines. So that inventory has same economy class tickets, and we call one Yankee class. That's a white class. We can have Tango class, Sugar class. They are all economy class. So what differentiates all economy from each other is the cheapest economy will be sold at a very low amount. So if economy ticket from Lagos to London, for example, for you bought it at 10 million naira, and I bought my own at 2 million naira. Why am I buying at 2 million naira? One, we consider the period when I bought that ticket. So if I bought my tickets way ahead of yours, there's tendency that I will get it at a cheaper price.
Yes.
So another thing that could be the difference is the condition of the ticket I bought. My ticket price could be a promo ticket. So if I bought a promo ticket, of course, it has so many conditions, so many restrictions. So the condition is that for my ticket, for example, that is very affordable, not cheap, because travel is not cheap. So it's quite affordable. It could be that I cannot make a change on my ticket. So which means if I'm not able to travel on the date I allotted on the ticket, I would miss that flight and I will lose that amount I've paid.
Yes.
Okay, that is one reason why the price could be different. So another reason is that it could be because that's the rule, the condition I've said about the condition. Yes. So you could be that you make a change at $100, for example. Another person who is paying higher, the condition could be that you could make a change with $200, or you could pay $200. Another person who got it higher could pay $100 for a change. And the Yankee class, which is the pata of them all, when it comes to the economy class tickets, could be a very flexible ticket, such that you can buy your ticket tomorrow. If you don't want to travel, you come back and change the ticket without paying a dime. So it is very flexible, that allows you pay no kobo to get your ticket change and stuff like that. So this another reason why prices differ could be the season of purchase.
Yes.
You have different season in the travel industry. Okay. Some are peak period, some are off peak period, and some are shoulder period. Okay. So the peak period is where there are so much traffic. So if you want to buy a ticket, for example, for summer now, this is March 2025. If you're going to buy a ticket for July, August, of course, the price will be so high compared to the same destination you are traveling in March or April, because the airline do not get so much traffic within this period.
Yes.
But when you get to the summer period, they know definitely would have to go places. So because we're going places, the price will hike it up a bit more. Why are they doing that? Because that is the period where they can make their money. So now you'll be shocked that if you go on board some airlines, you will see a lot of empty seats. And the industry is actually a perishable commodity. We sell a perishable commodity in the travel industry. What do I mean? If you have an aircraft that can take 500 passengers on board, and we only sell 300 seats, the remaining 200 will be flown empty, and it become a loss to the airline. So that period when the tickets have so much traffic is where they are able to maximize their profits, Okay, and so people will have to just comply. That is it.
I'm getting it.
Many other reasons. Another one could also be the type of aircraft that is being used.
Yes.
If you are entering a Prado from point A to point B,
Obviously, you know, you pay
and you are paying Korok, you're entering Korok from of course you pay more for your luxury. So the kind of aircraft, some aircrafts could be sort of BRT, and some will be a car, Uber vehicles, which also has grades. But even if you're making orders on Uber, they'll tell you if you want comfort, you want comfort plus, if you want, so kind of vehicle that is being used, or the kind of aircraft, or we call it equipment, okay, that is being used, is also a determinant of how much
Yes,
the airline will charge for those fares. So there are many other
yeah.
factors.
But I have one question. Because I remember there was a time I was asked to book a ticket.
Okay.
So I took my phone and I wanted to book the ticket. So I checked. It was a particular price. And then, you know, I kept hovering around the same page, and then the price increased. And then someone called me. I was like, go and check on another phone. It would be the old price, that they are doing it intentionally. Like, is that actually a thing that, you know, airline intentionally bump the price up to get a reaction for me to buy them? Or is
Okay.
it myth?
The thing is, it's actually not a myth. Just like I explained earlier, if I make my search now and I've been able to secure, we have some people we refer to as consolidators
Yes.
in the travel industry. So these consolidators have a higher bargaining power with the airline. So because they have a higher bargaining power with the airline, they are able to, negotiate for a cheaper fare.
Yes.
It is still the same travel company that they both run, but they have a higher negotiating power. If you are an wholesaler, for example, for whatever product you buy from me, and I am your supplier, if I'm offering you at 1 million naira, for example, but because you are buying 1 million and 1,000 pieces of that same product from me, of course I can give it to you at 950,000 naira. But if you are buying just 100, I will stick to my 1 million naira. So these are one of the reasons why you should get it. And another thing is, if you are like you mentioned earlier, that you are searching a platform,
Yes.
and you are hovering around the same platform, the ticket is, for example, 1 million naira.
Yes.
And by the time you checked, it's already 1.2 million naira. Now, what would have happened there at that spot is that, I talked about availability and inventory earlier.
Yes.
So availability is the number of seats available for sale on an aircraft. So if by the time you are searching for your tickets, I am also searching. Don't forget I said it is a global distribution system. So everybody around the world is searching the same route when you are searching. So it could be thousands of people or hundreds of people searching from Lagos to Dubai. So as I'm searching, I saw the ticket that, and I talk about the class of services and alphabets used for them. So if there are 9 seats and I pick 8, it's remaining just one to be picked. And you now pick that one. And somebody next to you is also searching for the same fare. That's 9 that is allocated to that particular alphabet in the airline system, which may not be understandable to, is already sold out. So what they will send next is the next alphabet. So if we have picked, for example, T class, Tango class, we call it, and by the time you are doing search, now sugar class that is available, you are not going to see Tango class again. What you see is sugar class. So that could be another reason why that price actually changed. It's not because the airline actually changed the system, or there's a myth, or they say that you are searching. No, it's subject to availability of seats. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the clarity on
You're
that.
welcome.
It's so obvious that you are very vast on these topics, because even me personally, I'm learning a lot.
You're welcome.
But another thing that is often said is, I think we need to talk about how aviation fuel, as it's often called, affect the prices of tickets. Because if we are looking back at 2019, 2020, I've had to commute between Lagos and Abuja, and I realized then the ticket was around 16,500, 19,000, around that time.
Max 23.
Max 23 to travel from Lagos to
Abuja,
other places. But now, counting it like 5 years later, the prices it's not just tripled. It's more than that, skyrocketed. And when you ask, people in the travel industry, they will often tell you it's aviation fuel.
Yeah.
So, like, do you think that was the exact reason that affected the hike in flights, even right now, not just even with local, international
Internationally, yeah.
inclusive. Because if we look at I mean, for instance, I don't know why I like checking tickets a lot. So
Yeah.
for instance, I know in the UK, there's an airline called Ryanair, and they have one of the cheapest
Tickets.
tickets, but they have one of the cheapest ticket like entirely. But why do you think like right now the cost of between like traveling is on the high?
Okay, there are major reasons to that, and I will just mention 2 or 3 basically. Number 1 is the aviation fuel, like you rightly said.
Yes.
Aviation fuel is quite expensive. It's not only related to aviation alone. It's actually cut across every industry, transportation majorly, and the bus it will take the amount I purchase for my car.
Yes.
Of course, it will come back and it's quite different. Okay. And talking about aviation fuel, I mentioned earlier about the type of equipment that is being used, that's the
Being used,
aircraft that
yeah,
is
the
being used.
aircraft, yes.
So the consumption of some aircraft differ to some. If it is
Yes.
small vehicle,
It's-
taking our Camry, those Camry of olden days, for example, of course, they consume less. So if you have an old aircraft that you're using to fly a particular route, of course, now your ticket price will be slightly lower than mine. So another one is so if I'm consuming more, of course, I will have to do my um cost implication around what I'm going to get as revenue. So that is one. Another one also is the taxes. Taxation is a big deal as far as the aviation industry is concerned. Nigeria, I must tell you, pays the highest levy for the aviators.
Wow.
The airlines, yeah. So that is why if you see a flight from Ghana to, say, London, for example, or Ghana to Washington, America, the price will be cheaper than ours. And one of the criteria is one aviation fuel that they buy over there is quite cheaper. Another one is the taxes. So number 3 is the policy. I will limit it at that. There are so many reasons that could be a challenge. So policies made by governments and all of that is something that affects price hike as well. Because if you're saying that policies that could allow aviation should actually be run tax free,
Yes.
literally in all countries in the world.
Wow.
It should be tax free. Even if you're going to be taxing them, it should be very,
Very
minimal.
minimal.
So these policies that are being made are not helping. Let me add one to it as Jara.
Please.
Another major challenge is competition. Competition. So if Nigeria has a local carrier, an airline of our own, let me give an instance. Let me take you back to 2024 when EP started the route from Lagos to London. Virgin Atlantic British Airways were selling at 3 million, 4 million for an economy class ticket. But when Airpeace came on board, competition became very huge. They dropped the fare for to 1.5, 1.6 million naira. Every airline's head straight up. Their head correct. Before you knew it, they actually had to review their prices and because the competition is there. It's plenty, my brother.
I feel I have like loads of questions that I still need to ask you. We're going to definitely get into it very soon.